Imagine standing at the boarding gate, confident your carry-on meets every rule you've known for years, only to be stopped, forced to check it, and handed a surprise fee.
Next in
This
line,
scene
please.
is playing out for thousands of travelers in 2025, and most of them have no idea why.
Ma'am, you need to
The
remove
truth
your
is,
shoes.
airline and airport security systems have quietly shifted after years of operational chaos, fire incidents, and post-COVID-19 pandemic cost pressure. What used to be simple guidelines have hardened into hidden traps. AI cameras now count how many bags you carry. X-ray software flags dense overpacked luggage as possible bombs. Agents are measuring battery watt hours, weighing bags at the gate, and confiscating items that were fine just last year. It's no longer about following the old rules. It's about staying ahead of new ones written to protect airlines, not passengers. These aren't optional tips. They're enforced thresholds that can get you delayed, fined, or grounded if you miss even one. Today, we're breaking down the 12 most critical carry-on rules quietly reshaping air travel in 2025. The rules that decide whether you walk onto your flight or get stopped in your tracks. Of all the items that can get your bag flagged, few are as dangerous or as misunderstood as loose lithium batteries. The same power cells that keep our phones, cameras, and drones alive can also trigger cabin fires that are almost impossible to extinguish at altitude. Aviation safety boards have documented dozens of cases where overheated lithium batteries forced emergency landings, sometimes filling the cabin with smoke within minutes. The risk isn't hypothetical. It's thermal runaway, a chain reaction where one overheating cell ignites the next in seconds. That's why airlines and the Transportation Security Administration have tightened restrictions in 2025. Any lithium battery must now be in carry-on bags only, never in checked luggage.
Your bag is all set.
And must be individually protected from short-circuiting. Tossing them loosely into a backpack is no longer tolerated. If exposed terminals touch coins, keys, or even each other, they can spark under pressure changes in the cargo hold. Agents are trained to spot this, and they'll either confiscate or delay your bag for a manual safety check. Strategically, airlines are trying to avoid catastrophic diversions. An in-flight fire can cost a carrier millions. The smart move is simple. Pack all spare batteries in a padded fire-resistant case, tape over exposed terminals, and keep them in easy reach. It shows security you understand the risk and ensures your trip isn't grounded before it even begins. They look harmless, sleek, reusable water bottles that travelers carry to cut down on waste. But in 2025, these same bottles are triggering unexpected security stops across airports worldwide. The issue isn't the bottle itself, it's the physics of X-ray imaging. Double-walled stainless steel bottles, especially when sealed, appear as opaque, black zones on scanners. Agents can't see inside them, which means they could be concealing liquids, powders, or even small prohibited devices. In the past, you might have just been asked to open it. Now, security policy has shifted. Bottles must be completely empty and uncapped when going through screening. If they appear sealed or suspiciously heavy, they get pulled for secondary inspection, which can mean full bag searches and long delays. The Transportation Security Administration has specifically flagged this as a new checkpoint bottleneck. Delays caused by manual bottle checks were rising sharply in 2024, so they've become a top priority to screen.
You're all set to go.
There's also a strategic angle. Slowing security lines even slightly ripples through flight schedules, costing airports and airlines thousands in overtime and gate reshuffles. The fix is easy but crucial. Keep the cap off your bottle as you approach the scanner, or better yet, carry a clear plastic bottle through security and refill it afterward. That small gesture signals to agents that it's empty and safe, letting you glide through while others are being stopped. For years, most travelers obsessed over the size of their carry-on, never its weight. But in 2025, that blind spot is costing people hundreds at the gate. Airlines under post-COVID-19 pandemic cost pressure have quietly begun enforcing strict weight limits for cabin bags, often between 15 and 22 pounds, 10 kilograms. The twist is that they're not checking this at the counter anymore. They're doing it at the boarding gate, where you have no time to rearrange. Gate agents are being given portable digital scales, and if your bag tips over the limit, they'll tag it for forced
come
gate
on.
check and charge a fee on the spot, often double
Excuse
what
me?
pre-checking would have cost.
Sorry,
This
ma'am.
isn't random, it's strategic. Lighter cabins mean lower fuel burn, and shifting borderline heavy bags into the hold boosts ancillary revenue while cutting turnaround times.
Good work,
Several
everyone.
carriers even
Agreed.
admitted in earnings reports that gate check fees have become a profitable behavioral nudge to discourage overstuffing. The problem is that weight can be deceptive. A small hard-shell roller might look compact yet weigh 24 pounds with electronics inside. The smart move is to weigh your bag at home, then shift dense items like chargers, books, or power banks into your personal item. If your
We do have a
airline
fee
posts a
for
limit,
additional
treat it
luggage,
as real.
which would be an extra
In
$50.
2025, gate scales are not bluffing, and arguing
nice.
rarely works. One of the most surprising carry-on triggers this year isn't sharp objects or liquids, it's powders. Protein supplements, instant coffee, baby formula, makeup powders, even drink mixes are now being flagged at checkpoints if they exceed 12 ounces, 350 grams. The reason is security physics. On X-ray scans, dense powders resemble certain explosive precursors. After multiple false alarms in 2024, the Transportation Security Administration quietly escalated powdered substances into the suspect category. Now, any container over the threshold is automatically pulled for secondary inspection, often involving chemical swab tests. This can delay your screening by 15-30 minutes, and if you're running tight on boarding time, can easily cost you your flight. International hubs are
Do not
adopting
tamper
similar
with it.
standards, so even if you clear security once, you can be stopped at your layover. Strategically, this change isn't about punishing passengers, it's about throughput efficiency. When powders force manual inspections, they slow entire security lanes, causing ripple delays that cost airports and airlines thousands. The smart workaround is simple. Pre-portion any powders into containers under 12 ounces and keep them at the top of your bag in a clear, resealable pouch. That way, if agents want to check them, you can present them instantly and move on. Treat powders like liquids now, measured, visible, and ready to be inspected, or risk becoming the reason your whole lane grinds to a halt. It used to be a gray area. A laptop bag plus a purse, or a tote plus a camera pouch, often slipped through without comment. But in 2025, airlines are cracking down, and they've brought AI to enforce it. Many major airports have installed overhead computer vision cameras at boarding lanes, programmed to count how many separate items each
Sir, you
passenger
cannot
carries.
pass.
If the system detects more
But
than one
my flight
personal
is
item
boarding
in
right
addition
now.
to your carry-on, gate agents are automatically alerted. This shift is subtle but deliberate. Airlines have realized that multiple small bags slow boarding flow, clog overhead bins, and disrupt on-time performance. Post-COVID-19 pandemic, when tight turnaround times are vital, delays translate into real revenue losses. So now, what used to be ignored is becoming a new profit lever. Agents are instructed to either force consolidate your bags on the spot
Here
or
is your
charge
tag.
an extra item fee, often $35, $75. The problem is, many people don't even realize what
Thank
counts
you.
as a bag. Camera holsters, small shopping bags, even bulky neck pillows clipped to straps have triggered penalties. The strategic move is simple. Consolidate everything into one personal item before you reach the gate. Use pouches inside your backpack, tuck your purse or tech bag inside your roller until you boarded, and keep visible items to a minimum. The less clutter AI can detect, the less likely you are to become its next target. Once marketed as the future of travel, smart luggage has now become one of the fastest ways to get stopped at the gate. These tech-forward suitcases, built with GPS trackers, USB chargers, and Bluetooth locks, almost always contain lithium batteries. And in 2025, if those batteries can't be removed, the bag is effectively banned. The reason is fire safety. Lithium battery fires are nearly impossible to extinguish in an aircraft's cargo hold, and incidents have forced multiple emergency landings over the past few years. The Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation Security Administration now require that any smart luggage battery be removable and carried separately in the cabin. If security can't see the battery is detachable, they'll deny the bag. Airlines aren't taking chances. Several have instructed gate staff to inspect smart luggage on site, and if the battery looks built in, you'll be forced to either remove it on the spot or abandon the bag entirely. Strategically, this isn't about inconvenience, it's about risk containment. One fire in the cargo hold could cost an airline millions in diversions, claims, and regulatory fines. The smart approach is to check your bag's specs before you fly. If it's smart luggage, remove the battery and pack it in your carry-on with the terminals taped. Show it to security proactively. It signals you understand the risk, and it ensures your trip won't go up in smoke. Literally. In 2025, one of the most common reasons carry-ons get pulled aside isn't what's inside, it's how tightly it's packed. When a bag is stuffed to the point of bulging, it creates what security agents call a solid shadow on X-ray. Instead of clear outlines of individual items, the scanner sees a dense block of material, which is exactly what explosives are designed to look like. As a result, the Transportation Security Administration now flags overpacked bags for secondary screening almost automatically. That means unzipping your entire bag at the checkpoint, removing layers of clothes, toiletries, cables, and electronics, while agents swab and probe every corner. It's slow, stressful, and humiliating. And it's happening more often. In fact, airport security reports show that overstuffed bags have become a leading cause of lane slowdowns, which cost airlines and airports thousands per hour in missed departure slots. Strategically, the industry would rather force passengers to check these dense bags than risk delays at security. The smart approach is counterintuitive. Pack less. Use compression cubes or pouches to keep items separated and leave air gaps between layers so scanners can see through them. Place dense objects like chargers or books at the top for easy removal.
Just a little
Even
more.
if everything fits, resist the urge to sit on your bag to close it, because the tighter it is, the more suspicious it looks. In 2025, space isn't wasted. It's clearance, and it can save your entire trip. The 3-1-1 liquids rule has been around for nearly 2 decades, but in 2025, it's being enforced with a level of precision most travelers aren't ready for. In the past, security agents often gave leeway if a bottle was slightly over the size limit or only half full. That leniency is gone. The Transportation Security Administration has instructed officers to go strictly by the printed container size, not the amount of liquid left inside. So even if your 150 milliliter bottle of lotion is almost empty, it will still be confiscated because the container itself exceeds the 100 milliliter 3.4 OZIT cap. This change came after several security incidents where seemingly half-used containers were refilled with prohibited substances. Agents now receive automated prompts from new X-ray scanners highlighting oversized bottles, and many airports have installed AI-assisted sizing bins at checkpoints. The result? Expensive perfumes, serums, and cosmetics are being thrown out daily, often shocking travelers who thought they were compliant. Strategically, this move is about reducing exceptions that slow down lines. When officers stop to debate bottle sizes, it creates ripple delays across the terminal. The smart solution is to travel with TSA-approved refillable bottles clearly labeled under 100 milliliter and to pre-pack them in a transparent quart-sized bag. Don't argue or plead at the checkpoint. The policy is rigid now. In 2025, almost empty still means too big, and arguing only slows you and everyone behind you. Power banks have quietly become one of the most confiscated items at security in 2025. Not because they're banned, but because agents are now checking their energy ratings down to the decimal. The critical threshold is 100 watt-hours, WH. Anything above that is considered a hazardous battery and requires airline pre-approval to fly. The problem is that most power banks don't list their WH directly, only their milliamp hours, MMAH. So agents are being trained to do the math on the spot, and if your label is faded, missing, or unreadable, they'll confiscate it by default. This policy shift was driven by multiple cabin fire
All right, thank
incidents in 2023-2024, traced to counterfeit high-capacity power banks overheating midair. The Federal Aviation Administration and Transportation Security Administration jointly pushed for stricter checks, and airlines have embraced them as a liability shield. Strategically, this is about cutting risk. A single fire diversion can cost a carrier over $1 million in fuel dumps, emergency landings, and compensation claims. The smart move is to verify your power bank's rating before you travel. If it only shows mAh, convert it, mAh X volts, $1,000, and write the euro and clear marker or tape on the casing. Keep it in your carry-on, never check luggage.
This one is approved.
This small prep step shows agents you know the rules, and it can save you from losing an expensive device at the worst possible moment. One of the most overlooked traps in 2025 carry-on rules has nothing to do with security threats and everything to do with agriculture law. Many travelers assume that if a food item clears Transportation Security Administration security, it's automatically allowed. That's no longer true. The United States Department of Agriculture has tightened restrictions on transporting fruits, vegetables, meat, dairy, seeds, and other organic materials, even within domestic U.S. routes that cross quarantine zones like Hawaii, California, and Florida. Travelers arriving with undeclared items can face fines starting at $300 and international layovers add another layer of risk. Customs officers are now coordinating directly with TSA, tagging suspicious food items during bag scans for agricultural inspection at the gate. This policy shift stems from real crises. Invasive pests, crop diseases, and livestock illnesses have caused billions in losses over the past decade. Strategically, protecting domestic food supply chains has become just as critical as protecting airplanes themselves. The tricky part is how invisible this rule can be. A sealed apple or vacuum-packed sausage might seem safe, yet still be banned if it crosses certain state or international lines. The smart move is to check the USDA's Don't Pack a Pest list before you fly, and if you must bring food, keep it factory sealed, labeled, and declare it on entry. That simple honesty can save you from hours of questioning or an instant fine that ruins your trip budget. Medications are among the most sensitive and strictly regulated items in your carry-on in 2025. What used to be waved through with minimal scrutiny is now getting flagged if not packed perfectly. The Transportation Security Administration and U.S. Customs and Border Protection have tightened coordination, and they've made one rule clear. All medications must be in their original containers with the passenger's name and dosage label visible. Loose pills and unlabeled organizers, which many travelers use for convenience, are now a major red flag. Agents have been trained to treat them as potential controlled substances or smuggling attempts until proven otherwise. International travelers face even stricter checks, with some countries demanding prescriptions printed in English or notarized doctor's letters to permit entry. Strategically, this shift is about blocking illicit drug trafficking that has spiked on commercial flights in recent years. Unfortunately, that means even innocent mistakes can get you detained or have your medicine confiscated. The smart approach is to keep all prescription drugs in their labeled pharmacy bottles and place them in a clear pouch at the top of your carry-on. For over-the-counter meds, carry only sealed packaging.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Packs.
No, thank you.
And always keep a printed medication list from your doctor, including generic names in case local brands differ.
Here is your medication.
In 2025, proper documentation isn't optional. It's your only proof that what you carry is legal and necessary. For years, travelers believed that following the old rules was enough. Fit your bag in the sizer, remove your laptop, and you'd be fine. But 2025 has changed everything. The rules aren't just stricter, they're smart, invisible, and quietly enforced by algorithms, AI scanners, and profit-driven policies you don't see until it's too late. Every item you carry now has consequences, not just for your comfort, but for safety, efficiency, and the economics of modern air travel. Airlines are cutting turnaround times to the minute. Security is eliminating exceptions that slow the line by even a few seconds. And those who don't adapt are paying for it, literally. But here's the truth. These 12 rules aren't meant to trap you. They're meant to protect the system. Fires, contamination, security breaches. Every one of these policies was written in the aftermath of something that went wrong. If you know the rules, you stay ahead of the chaos. You save time, money, and stress, and you
All
show
right,
the
you're all
system
set.
you're
Come on
part of the
through.
solution, not the problem. So as you pack for your next flight, remember, smart travelers don't just survive the new carry-on crackdown, they move through it like they were built for it.